Okay, November 27th, 2022, I'm over here walking down Heller Park, and earlier today I was walking over here only in the opposite direction, and I just got to get this out because it set a very negative tone for the rest of the day, and I'll explain why later. But I was walking over here and there's a man and his dog. I've noticed that inside my sunglasses that he was looking at me very angrily, and I could tell that it was anger. Now, could it just be the norm for him? So I may possibly be misconstruing it, but I'm 75% sure that I'm not misconstruing it. And I know I said that in the beginning of the sub-series that when stuff like this happens that I will get on the camera immediately, but in this case it was hours since. But the reason why I guess a benefit of waiting this long is to also explain thoroughly what has been happening the past several hours. I have been trying to get a lot of work done, a lot of other things done, but that man kept on popping in my mind, and it's because it's not necessarily the first time that this happened. It's just, what if he was just mad at me at first sight? And I know that that has happened multiple times, and I didn't say anything, I didn't do anything except for just walking down a public street or a public park. And that actually reminds me of another time. Last year I was at Mariners Park, and at Mariners Park I had to walk by this gentleman, and I was walking by and it's like, well, I need to say something, and so I said like, hi, how are you? I mean, heartfelt, of course. I mean, I meant it. And he took a little step back and he smirked and he snickered at me and kind of gave me this strange look as if manners were just supposed to be only reserved for aliens or something like that. And it's kind of hypocritical that he was with a child. Well, the child was on the jungle gym, but the hypocrisy is that parents should raise their children with morals, with integrity, and to treat each other with respect and to show manners. And then he laughed at me just being neighborly and such. And not only that, but you know, he was staring me down for a long time up to this point. And that kind of harkens back to the story in 2017 when that gentleman did what he did and yelled at me just for being autistic in front of his own daughter. This was back in 2017. The daughter was embarrassed, you could tell by her laughter and such. I have a whole YouTube video about that, actually a YouTube video and a briefed YouTube video, and I'll link it in the card above. But going back to today, how I interpret or misconstrue this gentleman, I'm not sure. I mean, I just have this feeling inside me, this like discerning feeling that it's possible, I know it's subjective, but it's possible that I didn't misconstrue this. I mean, his face looked completely angry, but that might be the norm for him. And what I'm trying to tell the world is just be nice to people who are autistic. Just because you see an autistic go down the sidewalk does not mean that they're aliens from outer space. I've been screaming that from the top of my lungs all this time. I'm getting very passionate about that because a lot of people aren't as strong as I am, and they'll choose to do things to their life, if you know what I mean. And that's why I'm passionate about that, about this. And I know the hurt, I feel the hurt 24/7, 365. But I'm strong enough that I choose to continue this life of mine because I know I'm going to make a difference. And I'm just trying to get people to understand that people with autism doesn't mean that we're aliens and such. So anyway, and that's the purpose why I'm on YouTube, is to promote autism awareness and acceptance and appreciation, and also just say and show how I'm not letting it limit me. I mean, I'm still choosing to do my hobbies, firebuffing, plane spotting, photography, and I'm also providing updates, like teaching updates, just to show the world, like, I'm autistic, but I'm doing whatever I can to be a teacher. And a lot of people probably thought that it's impossible to be disabled and have such a position like a teacher. No, there's a lot of us who prove that wrong. Brad Cohen has Tourette's syndrome, he's a teacher, and I have autism and I'm a substitute teacher. I just completed student teaching, and I'm going to do whatever I can to be a full-fledged teacher. If I may add something real quick, the last time I recall getting on the camera for something like this was August 11th, and it's already November 27th, and that doesn't mean that nothing has happened in the past 3.5 months. It just means that I just haven't been on the camera to explain the hundreds of things that have happened. A lot of them were just so subtle, so it's like, well, no need to really make a video about that. I'll just say that in the past few months, so many things have happened, just like it has happened the past several years. And I'm describing it like a magnet, like it's almost like wherever I go, it's like 75–80% of the time it's just discrimination, like a magnet and such. Just on first sight, I've never met these people and they just give me the weirdest looks. And again, am I misconstruing it or not? Some, I know I'm not misconstruing it. And some, I actually have body cam footage evidence that I didn't misconstrue anything.
What's up? Hey, man.
But others, maybe I am misconstruing it, and that's also, I mean, regardless if the people meant it or not, I'm not against them. And if I do have like a close-up of someone on body cam, I would never like blast their face anywhere because I'm not against them. I'm just against the discrimination. There's a difference. I want everyone to believe in themselves, and people who do discriminate are just unsure of themselves. And I'm trying to go into all the world to now 8 billion people to tell everyone that they have a purpose despite a disability, and treating each other nicely are going to make them feel nice and happy inside. And that's what I'm just trying to instill for 8 billion people in the next generation. And another thing is I know that a lot of people are just going to say, well, I just have problems, or we have problems, or we have issues, like this happens to everybody and such. Therefore, I'm nervous to be making these YouTube videos because those statements are wrong. It's just that we have autism and we take things to a higher level. And why defend meanness? Why defend discrimination? And another thing is that I would be doing such a disservice if I'm just not honest. And what I stand for is truth. And so that's why I make these videos and go out on social media and also the news media. Because if I don't, then a lot of this world is just going to not understand what discrimination does to people. It really hurts people, and I'm just trying to take a stand against it, as well as instilling autism awareness and acceptance, as well as disability awareness and acceptance, and for people to put aside the competitions and come to know each other, believe in themselves, believe in each other and such. So I would really be a terrible person if I didn't take the time to elucidate everything, even though a lot of people who are discriminators would say that I just have problems, or that people with autism just have problems and to grow up, basically. People with autism like me have every right to live on this planet as the neurotypical. And that is why I'm fighting for, and I would literally give my life fighting for it, for equality and equity for every person on the planet and the next generation.